Espresso. Espresso is a small, concentrated coffee made by pushing hot water through finely ground coffee under pressure. It grew out of Italian bar culture in the early 1900s, built around speed and consistency. What makes it different is the intensity and the texture, with a heavier body than most brewed coffee. It matters because it's the starting point for a huge number of cafe drinks. Ristretto. Ristretto is an espresso pulled with less water, so it comes out shorter and more syrupy. Because the extraction is cut earlier, it often tastes sweeter and rounder with fewer bitter notes. You'll see it in cafes that want an espresso that feels intense but smoother. It matters if you like concentrated coffee but want a softer edge. Lungo. Lungo is an espresso pulled with more water, making it longer and more diluted than a standard shot. The longer pull can bring out more bitter compounds, so it tastes different than simply adding water later. In some European cafes, it's a familiar option when people want an espresso style coffee that lasts a bit longer. It matters because the brew process itself changes the flavor balance. Americano. Americano is espresso with hot water added after the shot is pulled, giving a larger cup with a lighter body. It's often linked to Americans in Italy who wanted something closer to the coffee they knew. The taste stays cleaner than an overextended espresso, but you still get that espresso aroma. It matters because it's one of the simplest ways to stretch espresso without turning it into a milk drink. Moka Pot. Moka Pot coffee is made on the stovetop using steam pressure to push water through coffee grounds. Invented in Italy in the 1930s, it became a classic household way to make strong coffee without an espresso machine. The result is bold and concentrated, but not quite espresso in texture or crema. It matters because it's a widely loved middle ground between brewed coffee and espresso. Cappuccino. Cappuccino is espresso with steamed milk and a thicker layer of foam, traditionally served in a smaller cup. The foam changes the whole experience by adding lightness and a creamy feel without adding a lot more liquid milk. It's tied closely to Italian cafe habits, especially as a morning drink. It matters because it's as much about texture and balance as it is about ingredients. Macchiato. A traditional macchiato is espresso marked with a small spoon of foam or a touch of milk. It's meant to slightly soften espresso while keeping it mostly concentrated coffee. In classic cafe culture, it's small, quick, and direct. It matters because the name is often used differently in large chains, so expectations can change depending on where you order. Cortado. Cortado is espresso mixed with a small amount of warm milk, usually close to an even balance. It's common in Spain and widely used in specialty cafes because it keeps the espresso flavor clear but smooth. The milk is lightly textured, not piled with foam. It matters because it sits in the sweet spot between straight espresso and a full latte. Mocha. Mocha combines espresso, steamed milk, and chocolate, giving you a coffee drink that leans dessert-like. The chocolate adds sweetness and body, changing how bitterness comes through. It's a long-running favorite because it's familiar and comforting, especially for people easing into espresso. It matters because chocolate can make coffee taste richer without needing complex brewing knowledge. Starbucks Espresso. Starbucks Espresso is the standard shot used as the base for most espresso drinks at Starbucks. The flavor profile is often more roasted and bold, which helps it stay noticeable under a lot of milk, syrup, and toppings. That consistent taste is important for a chain serving huge volumes all day. It matters because it's a big reason Starbucks drinks have a recognizable signature. Starbucks Blonde Espresso. Starbucks Blonde Espresso is a lighter roast espresso option designed to taste smoother and less roasty. It can bring out more subtle sweetness and brightness, especially in simple lattes. Many people choose it when they want the drink to feel lighter without reducing caffeine or size. It matters because swapping the espresso changes the character of the entire drink more than most add-ons do. Starbucks Pike Place Roast. Pike Place Roast is Starbucks' flagship brewed coffee in many locations, served as the default drip option. It's named after the area tied to Starbucks' early history in Seattle and is meant to be balanced and familiar. In a menu full of custom drinks, this is the straightforward cup that behaves like regular coffee. It matters because it's the reference point for Starbucks brewed coffee. Starbucks Cafe Latte. Starbucks Cafe Latte is espresso with steamed milk and a light layer of foam, built to be consistent in any store and in multiple sizes. Because Starbucks sizes can be large, the drink can taste milkier unless you add extra shots. It's also designed to work smoothly with syrups and alternative milks, which is a major part of Starbucks ordering. It matters because it's one of the main building blocks of the Starbucks menu. Starbucks Caramel Macchiato. Starbucks Caramel Macchiato is a sweet vanilla milk drink with espresso poured on top and caramel drizzle added for flavor and aroma. It uses the word macchiato, but the result is closer to a flavored latte in size and sweetness than the traditional espresso marked version. The layering is part of the experience at first sip that it blends as you drink. It matters because it shows how Starbucks reinterprets classic coffee terms into a dessert style format. Starbucks Frappuccino. Starbucks Frappuccino is a blended ice drink made to be thick, sweet, and consistent with coffee based and cream based versions. The focus is texture and flavoring rather than espresso craft or brewing nuance. It became a defining Starbucks product because it reaches people who want a cold treat with optional caffeine. It matters because it represents a different category entirely, closer to a cafe dessert than a traditional coffee drink. Starbucks Cold Brew. Starbucks Cold Brew is steeped for a long time and served cold, often with options like sweet cream or flavored foam. It's designed to be smooth and strong enough to hold up to ice and additions without disappearing. The chain approach emphasizes repeatability. So it tastes familiar from store to store. It matters because it's one of Starbucks' closest matches to specialty style cold brew, while still fitting the customization culture. Starbucks Nitro Cold Brew. Starbucks Nitro Cold Brew is cold brew infused with nitrogen and served from a tap, usually without ice. Nitrogen changes the mouthfeel, making it creamy and soft, and it can seem slightly sweeter even without sugar. The draft system is part of why it feels like a special format compared to regular iced coffee. It matters because it shows how texture can transform coffee even when the ingredients stay simple.